Hello and welcome to my channel. This will be part 2 on what is happening. Basically the overview of explaining what is going on currently in Earth and how it is not a planet doing this. We live in a trinary sun system. All these effects we see, since they've been such long term, it's not a planet passing by or getting close. Every planet inherits its strength from its primary star. The sun is the main magnet, the powerful magnet. If you want to affect the planets in that, by a planet, you have to be very, very close. And it would be temporary, of course, because that planet would move on. Not 10 years, not where our sky is still turning like a clock, like our moon for the last 10 years. It takes a sun, a more powerful sun, to affect another sun's magnetic field. So that right there just throws away that a planet is doing all this. Speaking of planets, Tiamat. However, which story you listen to from the cuneiform writings from the Sumerians described in books, Tiamat has been destroyed in the 2 accounts that I recall. So, it can't be a Tiamat behind us. That, yes, there are planets and moons, within lunar orbit and out beyond that we are seeing their magnetic signatures and the close field lines proving their presence. But they're just along for the ride. The suns are the VIPs in these events. They run everything, not the planets. You have to go by their rules. So everything I've talked about with Cherenkov radiation, what I call electric haze, and all these strange wave clouds that are rhythmic and patterned, and it's all energy flow, and all that's from our incoming suns that are returning. What else? The increase in earthquakes, increase in volcanic activity. Well, I've already gone over this, but basically that's the cause. It's not Nibiru. Nibiru is where the Anunnaki are from, and I don't want to go to heaven, according to the Bible, because I can't live on that planet. Because there's no without taking the Schumann resonance with me, and eventually a MP3 player the batteries are going to die on it. So I'll stay here. I don't want to go to heaven. Well, since heaven is a planet, then what is hell? Another planet? But you learn about that with the cuneiform writings, that it came from the Anunnaki, and all our religious texts came from the Anunnaki, so it doesn't matter. It's pointless. It's control. That's all it is. Everything in our life is to keep us controlled, and I'm sure a lot of you understand that, but the rabbit hole goes so much deeper than our government. It goes so much deeper. We're talking the 3 heads on our planet as humans is the Queen, the Pope, and the President of the United States. Crown Vatican DC Corporation. Like they always say, all roads lead to Rome. There you go. That's because it's a control from the Anunnaki to keep their power here. Because every time these disasters happen in a cycle, they come back, they go up in their ships outside the planet and let it happen, and then they come back and set themselves back up again. Well, that ain't gonna happen this time, because their planet, heaven, is in the same boat we are this time, and their shields are not as on their sick planet, which you will learn about, is not as strong as Earth. And Earth is worried about her aunt or sister or however it is. Whoever heaven is in the grand scheme of creation. But like I mentioned earlier, stacking magnets. Well, stacking magnets means if you had 3 magnets and you put them together, example, Earth is a 10 as a value. You and I are each 1. Well, we stack all those magnets together, now everyone is a 12. So that's how we can, as the stewards of the Earth, protect Earth through at least the supernova from Horus. I mean, the other events of the volcanoes and the earthquakes and everything else in the oceans, that's not going to help us. But that's where we have to survive. Now, there are some other possibilities, like, through stories that have come down. For example, where we will receive the call on the alpha wave, and you may have heard the call or sound that even the deaf will hear, which is our alpha wave, 7.83 hertz, the Schumann resonance. That's where Earth communicates with us. That's where we're linked with Earth. So that call where we may get instructions to do whatever, but I think I gotta say, if that call comes, you need to listen to it, because it's coming from Mother Earth. It's not coming from man. It's not coming from anywhere aliens. It's coming from one place, because only one thing has the strength to do that. And you connect to the planet and connect to the field through your heart. And Greg Braden does a good job with that. So it's something that you probably may have heard a name at. I like Greg Braden over his other guys he works with, like Joe, and I don't remember the other guy's name. Greg I like him. I think his motivation is better than the others, just in my personal opinion. Greg is for helping people. Well, let's see. Anything else I can think of? There's so much, and this is exactly why we make videos, because I'm probably going to be at 24 to 30 minutes here in these 2 videos, and how am I going to type that all out multiple times a day? Or, I mean, I guess I could copy and paste it all day long, but, I do this in my free time. I'm not motivated by anything else but just wanting to do it. Because there's so much bad information out there on all those channels. They don't tell you what, they tell you to keep you confused, and they have their motivations for doing it. I mean, the best indicator we've always said is, for a channel, if they're not talking about the moon cartwheeling, then they don't have your best interest in heart, because that is the biggest sign in our sky of things that are happening that's been going on for 10 years, and yet no one's still talking about it. No one. Eric and I and some of the other channels, Off the Chain and Strange Skies 1111 and a few other channels I know, I'm forgetting, DK, they're talking about it. I don't mean to forget anybody, but those are the people that are talking about it. So like the big name channels, I know there's a few that have mentioned it, like WSO, but that was Catfish's Eric Briggs' influence anyways, because he was on his show. Mr. MBB33 just leaves it a mystery. Who else? Hush Puppy finally mentioned it, and he, of course he said, he was correct in the fact that it's our perception of the moon and all that, but he gave at least that video, I don't think he really explained why, but I know his key thing is gravity wells, but gravity doesn't exist, so it's all electromagnetics. So that's that on with him, and there are others who have done videos. You can look up lunar roll on YouTube, or moon's upside down, and you're going to find thousands of videos. But the only real ways and why we always teach the moon is because You can't forget the moon. It's always there. And all you got to do is you go out with just your eyes and your 2 feet, and you look at it 2 or 3 times in a night, and you'll notice that the face of the moon is rolling every hour at about 15 degrees an hour. So that's kind of a repeat for a lot of the people around here, but I got a lot of new subscribers here, so we gotta bring it up, and that's why we push the moon, because the moon is the key to wake people up. And if you're looking to wake people up, don't tell them about everything else at first. Start with the moon. Let them see it. Let them see it for themselves. The websites are very clear in the sense that it shouldn't do that. They don't say it shouldn't do that because it shouldn't. It's always been set the same way. Its behavior is daily. The fastest change of the moon has always been daily, night to night, in its orbit around the Earth. But you wouldn't believe the misinformation around the moon itself. People think it's self-lit. Or the sun is orbiting the moon vertically. It's like, that's how it's rolling. It's like, that's crazy, because it's light and shadow, a ball and a flashlight, and you can prove it right there. The only way our moon can roll is you roll the observer. And how that has happened for us on this Earth is the Earth is tilted on its side. The poles are facing east and west, in a sense, but perpendicular to the sun, because one of the poles is not pointing at the sun, because we have day and night on the planet still. So it's sideways, it's perpendicular. Polaris, we travel millions of miles around the Earth, around the sun, and yet Polaris still stays in the north. So an extra little bit of tilt of 66 degrees wouldn't change Polaris much. But it is in different locations because the Earth is wobbling like a mofo. All you gotta do is use a compass and document where the sun rises every day or sets every day, and you'll see, and knowing that it should never move according to our seasonal tilt more than 1 degree a week. Well, when I measure the sun's location with a compass and the next morning, and there's 7 degrees difference, that's 7 weeks of tilt, seasonal tilt, in its orbit around the sun. So we're wobbling. That's magnetics. It's not man-made. It's not HAARP. It's not dew. It's not any of that. It's just half-truths. Yes, things like that exist. The technology is there, but they're not using it to hide things. HAARP runs vertically, not horizontal. HAARP, they shoot it to the ionosphere and then bounce it back to the ground to look underground. That's its purpose. It doesn't run vertically, horizontally, like we're seeing with the wave clouds. It's not a new thing. It's just the energy's always been there, but now the energy is stronger in our atmosphere, and we're seeing it in the clouds. Those colors in the evenings and morning, it's the same thing. It's just more energy. Extra spectrums from Horus. Double rainbows. It's a different light spectrum than the original light, and then our light spectrum rainbow. Multiple suns. The rainbow, the halo, it's more energy hitting the Earth, creating a light effect, but it's still energy flow. It is still a magnetic field, because in the halo, when you see a lot of the parts of it, you can see the magnetic field. You see the field lines in the top. You see the inertial planes. That's where the sundogs are. That's one of the inertial planes. There's 2 in a magnet. There's 4 poles in a magnet, 2 norths and 2 souths. You take a ring magnet and you break it in half. Well, you take a ring magnet and they still have 2 norths and 2 souths. Well, you break a ring magnet in half, and all of a sudden the field will flip on one side, and all of a sudden you'll have a north and a south, and a south and a north. They'll touch together. They'll connect because it's the opposite polarity. But yet before you broke it, it was a north and a north on one end and a south on the other end. So that's how we know. Oh, I got distracted off topic on that one. I can't go back from where I was. So I guess to recap, that's why we talk about the moon a lot, because that is the great equalizer. Or even if they don't even believe it, those people are still gonna turn and look at the moon. They can't turn it off. They can't. It doesn't go away like anything they're reading on a computer. So don't give them Palladian messages and everything else. Give them the moon, and then give them electromagnetics, because then you can start working on the foundation to understand everything that we have not been taught of how things actually work, so that you can understand the things that you are seeing in the sky and say, yes, I know what that is. I don't have to believe anyone. No one can tell me differently. I don't have to live in fear of being accepted in society or what everyone else is saying, because you know you don't have a belief or a faith. It's very simple. Very simple. Anybody can get it. It's not difficult. It's not rocket science. We don't need scientists to tell us this. All they do is they'll complicate everything. Okay, so I guess on the what happening, quick recap. We live in a trinary system. You can look that up. Trinary systems and binary systems are even more common than single sun systems. NASA itself has stated that there is a wall of glowing hydrogen at the end of our solar system. Well, a glowing wall of hydrogen is a sun. So even NASA has said there's an additional sun here, along with the Earth's spin slowing, magnetic braking. They're slowly putting the stuff out, but it's very small amounts. It isn't every little thing you look up. You know what? You just gotta look at science. If you're ready for electromagnetics, you can start with the primer fields. Those 3 videos, that'll get you started. Then go to scientifically, the playlist, the motion of everything a field defined. And he has another one, fields in motion, that I like and recommend. Gerard Morin, great guy, no BS kind of guy. He will tell you off, just not personally, but tell off the whole naysayers on his videos, kind of like Eric, and he's correct about resonance and electricity, and he was very pivotal in my understanding as well. Gerard Morin with a G. Other channels. There are not very many channels. Ken McKellen, very small subscriber base. He has done a great job with his research, and has confirmed Eric's trinary system. And of course, I recommend Angry Catfish Briggs. He is the one that has dedicated 10 years of his life and has provided this information from research and backing it up and proving it in every fashion. It's not just repeating what all the other channels are saying. So, yes, I know he's an asshole. He'll outright tell you that. Well, I'm not going to fault him just because he's an asshole, but he's got the balls to teach, to give the information instead of just keeping his mouth shut and going against the grain. So, yes, I know he sends people over to me, and that's fine. That's what I want. If you don't like his cussing and his attitude, that's another reason why I do this. Because then we can still get the information out. And then there's no excuse for anybody. There's no excuse for anybody not to do it. You know what I mean? Oh, it's cussing. I don't want to. Fine. Well, right here. Here's the same information from me. All right. Well, I'm sure there's more. But that'll be for it for now. I guess. You guys maybe post some comments in some questions in the comments. Maybe I'll do another one. But that's it for now. Laters.